Hey, we are live with the 19th historic edition, Hangar 18. And thanks to those of you who have been with us since day one. And that is to
all two of you.
All two of our big fans since day one have been around. One of these days, like Jose Mangan's gonna listen to the show and be like, "Holy shit, these guys are fucking awesome!" And we'll have our own Sirius XM show, right?
Yeah, well, by that time we'll be like, oh fuck it, let's not do this anymore.
Yeah, probably like the day before, the time before, like, yeah, fuck this shit. And then somebody will listen to it and be like, this is great. Try to get yeah, you're probably right. That's how fucking life works, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is our extra special Black Sabbath edition, and the reason why is because, well, you should know this if you're listening to this. Black Sabbath just recently did, on the 4th, they did their last tour date ever, their last show, and they did it in Birmingham, England, and their last song, I believe, was Paranoid, if I'm not mistaken. They did. And here's the thing about that. Like, as soon as I started mentioning that, like, everybody's like, yeah, but they're coming back. You know, fuck you. Yes, they've done it before, and just like a million other bands have done farewell tours and come back. I mean, how many fucking times does Kiss come back? 100?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so fuck off. You know, I think this time it might actually be the end because, I don't know, I think they're just kind of old. I mean, you got to think, you know, they've been around for 50 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tony's pretty much come out and said he's pretty much done with touring, period.
Right.
Whether it's Sabbath or anything else. Now, I think he did say he may make some more music, continue making music in the studio, but
right.
he's pretty much done with touring because his body just can't take it anymore. Remember, he had that cancer scare a while back,
right?
And he didn't think he would still be alive at this point. So, you know,
right? You got to think, man, touring's got to be like grueling as shit, you know? I mean, yeah, you get paid a pile of money to do it, and you know, it's basically you get up on stage and fuck around and play great music. That's great and all, but I mean, being away from your home for like 18 months or so for certain tours, that's got to suck ass. You know, but then there are trade-offs. You know, you get piles of drugs and hookers and groupies and everything else and money, and go to all different kinds of places.
At their age, I don't know that that's really much of a trade-off.
No, they're probably getting off stage like going right to bed. I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, and their drugs consider like, you know, prescription pills and
yeah, Advil is their probably drug of choice nowadays.
Right, you know, some back pain medicine and stuff.
Right. So yeah, Black Sabbath. And see, that's the thing is, like, to me, that's, you know, pretty historic milestone in music history, because Black Sabbath, I mean, come on, that is heavy metal right there, you know. So like I said, what we decided to do, or at least what I decided to do, is do like an introspective of their first 10 albums, one song off of each. And yes, that includes 2 of the Dio years album, the 2 of the Dio years. Yep. And we're going to review one song off each. But anyway, that was a huge preamble for, you know. But anyway, with me as always is my heavy metal compatriot, the Spock to my Kirk, the baritone panty dropper, Dreadwind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
And, you know, of course, me, the giant alien metal fucking stabby-faced asshole, antisocial motherfucker from another planet, Thundercracker. And
you're anti.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing. I was just at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum, and I got to see, like, a German 88, a Flak Byron 38, which is like an anti-aircraft gun. I got to see, like, replicas of the Fat Man and Little Boy atomic bombs, and even a boxcar. Actually, it wasn't even a replica. It was boxcar. It was the boxcar that dropped the fucking second bomb. So that was cool. So there's that.
I went to a couple years back. I think it was the Warner Robins Air Force Base down in Georgia. I lived in Georgia at the time. We went down there. They have a Air Force museum, and they had a replica of the Fat Boy also.
Sweet. Did they have it painted up like yellow and black like this one was? Yeah, it's cool. And this place, man, they had an SR-71, they have F-111 stealth fighter, they have F-22 Raptor. I mean, pretty much every plane you can imagine the Air Force has ever flown, they've got it at Wright-Patterson Air Force Museum.
You don't realize how big
that is exactly what I said to my wife when I got there. It is word for word.
Yeah.
Because like they have a buff bomber in there, right? B-52, and that thing, obviously, I knew that was huge. That pretty much just takes up the entire fucking hangar, right? But even like just like an F-22, which you think it'd be like maybe 20 foot long, and that'd be but no, it's fucking huge.
Mm-hmm. The B1 also is huge, and you don't realize it. You see it in pictures. It's got that swept wing design.
Right. Yep.
If you put it next to a B-52, they're almost the same size.
Right. And then even the SR-71 is like long as fuck.
Yes.
So yeah, we're way off topic here. But anyway, heavy metal news. I'll go ahead and do my heavy.
Hey, that's heavy metal.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it is heavy metal. It has to do with planes dropping bombs on shit, tearing stuff up.
And they're literally made of heavy metal.
Right. So that's right up our alley, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, somebody told me that the fuel for the SR-71, because I guess his dad was like working on the ground crew for an SR-71, the fuel is non-flammable, right?
They had to make a special fuel for it,
right?
Because it flew so high that the regular fuel. Oh, that's what it was. Because of the temperatures involved, the airframe actually expands.
Right.
So when they built it, there's actually gaps in the airframe where the fuel leaks out onto the floor.
That's what I was going to say. When they're fueling it up, it just dumps all over the ground until the engines heat up, and it just basically expands and closes those holes.
Right. So they obviously had to make a different type of fuel that was not flammable for obvious reasons.
Right. And they still haven't released the top speed of that thing yet. So
yeah, I know.
And so somebody said that Russia has launched an SSM at it, like a air or ground to air missile at it, and this missile is like clocked at Mach 4.5, and it said the thing had no problem like evading that thing just on sheer speed.
Yeah.
And he said the guy who was talking about it, he said he had plenty of throttle left too when he did this thing. They said the only way to bring it down was to like explode a nuke in its vicinity. Like holy shit. That's insane.
Basically an EMP.
Right. Yeah. So that's crazy. That's crazy talk. But anyway, back to heavy metal news here. We went off on a little bit of Air Force tangent there. But I think like you and I both are like kind of big like history buffs and military buffs too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, I was just gonna my heavy metal news is there's a show coming on starring Sammy Hagar, and I get it. Sammy Hagar is rock and not metal, but it's called Rock and Roll Road Trip, and apparently they're gonna have the season 2 of this coming up, and some people that are going to be in it, which I thought this was interesting. John Mayer is going to be in it. John Mellencamp, which I will always call him John Cougar Mellencamp. James Hetfield, that's the whole reason why I was talking about this. James Hetfield is going to be in it. Mick Fleetwood, Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick's going to be in it. Joe Satriani, Melissa Etheridge. That's like a pretty star-studded lineup for this show. I don't even know what the fuck the show is about. I think it's just like kind of like a reality show of him touring and shit. Maybe, I don't know. It's called Rock and Roll Road Trip, and it's got Het in it, and and Het's been in the news recently because the Grammys were Lady Gaga, and I've heard a lot of people say, well, Lady Gaga killed it, and Lady Gaga loves music and she loves heavy metal, and that's fine. That's great, and that and if you like the performance, that's fine. But to me, I don't know, to me that's kind of watering down the purity of heavy metal when you have a pop star who has released pop songs doing live with with Metallica. That would be, to me, that would be like Beyonce on stage with Megadeth. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what they're gonna do. Like if they get up there and Metallica plays a Lady Gaga song, it's like exactly what you said. Like really,
Right.
But now if she gets up there and maybe she does like she gets on piano and they do like a really cool version of One, that might work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think the whole reason why she was on there is because James was like too sick to sing or something, or hurt or something like that. I'm not 100% sure what the reason was, but I don't know. To me, it's just one of those things that's like a nail in the coffin of metal, and it just leads to shit like I was talking about last week, where you have like metal getting watered down to like shitty levels, like pop got watered down and country got watered down. So I say the same thing about like like baby metal. I mean, stuff like that, it's okay and all, and it's music, but I don't know, just not my thing. Anyway, that's my news and way off topic rantings. Go ahead with yours there.
I'm with you. If you dig Chicks That Rock, be on the lookout for a band called the Starbreakers, a new band, all-girl band, featuring a few names you might recognize. On vocals, you have Jill Jonas, Huntress.
Okay. Heard of that.
Nita Strauss, who is currently guitar player for Alice Cooper, and was also in an Iron Maiden tribute band called the Iron Maidens, an all-girl Iron Maiden tribute band. On the other guitar is Courtney Cox, and no, not that Courtney Cox. Another guitar player who was in the all-girl Iron Maiden tribute band, Iron Maidens. Lindsay Martin, who is on drums from the Aviators and also a band called Glam Skanks. And Emily, I don't know how to pronounce this name, Ruvadich, from a band called Misty Day on bass. So it looks like they're doing cover songs from when it looks like. It says they've mastered the art of the cover song, blah, 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 blah. But they'll be performing as a band, I guess, here and there. And all of these girls are really good and really talented, and a lot of them have made their names for themselves playing other people's music. I would really like to see this group get together and do something original.
Yeah, right on.
So no word on that, but just something to maybe keep an eye out on at some point.
Yeah, it seems like, with women in metal, they either are amazing and like huge, or they're like, you never hear of them ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you either have OTEP or Angela Gossow, or you have nothing. Like these weird, obscure, like YouTube bands, you just have to like find. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so onwards and forwards to our review of some Black Sabbath. And just a little disclaimer: I am a fucking enormous Black Sabbath fan, whereas I like to call myself a Sabb head, and I have been for a long time. I mean, and I love Black Sabbath, so I'm probably gonna be a little biased on all of this shit.
Yep. So. Also a big Sabbath fan, and before we get started, I'll just interject this real quick. I was actually, when I first started listening to heavy metal music, the band that got me into heavy metal was Metallica, Master of Puppets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into Megadeth, then I got into Anthrax and Sepultura. That was my core metal experience. And then a guy at school said, "Man, you ever listen to Black Sabbath?" I was like, "Well, I've heard of them, but I hadn't really listened to them at that point, right?" So he gives me a copy of the first Black Sabbath album on cassette tape, mind you. So I sit down and listen to it. And of course, on cassette tape, you can't exactly skip ahead tracks,
Right. Yep.
So I put in the cassette tape, and the first album there's definitely some gold standard gems on there. But there's also a lot of them trying to find their sound and just kind of, experimenting here and there in between songs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it didn't grab me right away. I would admittedly, and I shamefully admit this, that I did not fall in love with Black Sabbath the first time I heard them. I had a problem getting past the lower production quality. I realized it was an older band and it was recorded in the 70s, but for some reason in my mind I was into modern stuff, and it had to be, in order to be heavy, I equated heavy with fast at the time. The faster it was, the heavier it was to me.
You probably wouldn't have been a fan of doom metal back then, huh?
I wasn't at the time until I found Typo Negative.
Gotcha.
And then when I discovered Typo Negative, they opened up a whole new world for me of it can be slow and heavy.
Right. Yep. Definitely.
And then I went back and listened to Sabbath after that, and then I realized what I was missing.
Oh yeah, these people are fucking amazing.
Basically slapped myself across the face. Like, these songs are amazing. What was I thinking?
Right. How I missed out on this for so long. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. So
hey, song number 1 is Black Sabbath, the song from Black Sabbath, the album by the band Black Sabbath. The title track from the album released February 13th, 1970.
I believe that was a Friday the 13th also.
I think you're right. And we are coming up on, what would that be? The 47th anniversary of the release of that album. That's insane.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great storm and church bell opening, right? Like right at the beginning of the song. And if you've ever read the autobiography, I Am Ozzy, which autobiography in air quotes, I guarantee he didn't fucking write it. He dictated it to somebody, I'm sure. He brought that album home and played it for his dad, and his dad was like, "The fuck is this? What do you have like storm going on in the background? This is stupid." Little did he know, it's got the iconic riff, right? You know, that riff. You know, that it's like what, like 4 notes?
Three notes.
3 notes. And it's just, as soon as you hear that, you know what it is.
Yep. That's the one I think we talked about before. They call that the Devil's Triad.
Yeah, right. This song has been covered by like some pretty hot heavy hitters. Typo Negative, Vader, Iced Earth. I mean, some heavy metal royalty right there. From what I understand, this song was inspired by Geezer Butler when they were still Earth. He had painted his apartment black, like all black, and he had put a bunch of inverted crosses and pictures of Satan all around his apartment. And Ozzy gave him this book about witchcraft. It was like an old book from like I guess a couple centuries before. And he had this book, and I guess he was sleeping, and he woke up and he just saw this figure in black pointing at him. And so after that, he got rid of the book, as they all started wearing crosses after that. So.
Yeah, I think somebody, I'd seen the interview that you're talking about where he talks about that, and I think somebody had given the book to Ozzy as a gift, and then he was like, "Hey, check." He gave it to Geezer, say, "Hey, check this out," because they were into the not necessarily satanic stuff specifically, but just anything to do with the occult. They found it interesting. So
right,
like, oh, cool, and yeah.
And the Black Sabbath, the song, it's got, in my opinion, one of the greatest tempo changes ever. Because it goes from that, you know, that dun, 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 and just from that, and then it goes to that part where, you know, they start just kicking it up a whole nother notch. In my opinion, that's one of the greatest tempo changes ever. I give this song a 10+. It's one of the best Sabbath songs there is. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Dreadwin, go ahead. Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath from Black Sabbath on Black Sabbath. Yeah, the intro, you have the rain, the storm, and the bell in the background. And then those 3 notes kick in, and the whole thing just sounds evil. It just has an evil sound to it. The vocals are very eerie in it. And right away, now remember, this is 1970, the beginning of 1970.
Right.
When this came out. So they wrote and were playing this song prior to that, 1969-ish, you know. That was the peace, love, and happiness era.
Right.
Music, you know, hippie, flower child. And right away, you know, this is not going to be about peace, love, and flowers.
The antithesis thereof.
I mean, it just hits you right in the face right away. This is something different. Black Sabbath is really good at this, especially in their first, say, probably 3 albums. Iommi makes great use of dynamics in this one, and what I mean by that is the whole first 3/4 of the song is only 3 notes.
Right.
He doesn't change the notes at all, even from the verse to the chorus. He's still playing the exact same 3 notes. He just plays them differently. You know, he brings it down. He brings it down for the verse while Ozzy's singing, and then the chorus he's still playing the same notes, but he emphasizes it. He makes use of the dynamics of the guitar and the sound to emphasize the chorus and to subdue the verse.
Right.
And you know, it's just a great use of the dynamics of music to make those 3 notes work that way and to actually sound like 2 separate entities. So, and he does that on a couple different songs. The bass guitar, if you listen to it also, the bass guitar adds a nice subtle undertone to what's going on with the guitars. It doesn't just follow the guitar line. You know, there's a little subtle undertone under there that's really cool. And then the rhythm change up about 4:30 into it is awesome and kind of adds a sense of urgency towards the end of the song.
It definitely does, because it seems like that's where you're running away from the guy.
Right. Yeah. It's a wonderfully composed song. If you think speed equates to heaviness, then this will take a little patience to listen to. But trust me, it is worth it because this song is a masterpiece. 10.
10. All right, so 10 to 10 plus for Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath. All right. Next, we move on to Jack the Stripper and Fairies Wear Boots from the Paranoid album, released 9/18/1970. If you listen to that, that's 7 months later. They put out their second album.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's unheard of nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Jack the Stripper, that's the name of the instrumental part at the beginning of Fairies Wear Boots, in case you're wondering. Because sometimes their names get a little weird, but that's what that's all about. Geezer Butler says that the lyrics were inspired by an encounter with skinheads, and as those are the fairies that they're wearing boots that he's talking about. Iommi says Ozzy and Geezer were smoking a bunch of weed and saw fairies, and that's what the lyrics are about. Ozzy says he's been told he wrote the lyrics but doesn't remember. Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah, so none of them really know what the fuck's going on. So it's an amazing song. Probably one of the most iconic songs ever. It's got a very bluesy riff to it. I mean, the riff is it's got very blues undertones to it. Then it has a very heavy change up. There's a great tempo change at the end again. And then there's a couple of nice guitar flourishes. There's not really so much a solo as there are like little guitar flourishes. But again, Fairies Wear Boots. It's like a core heavy metal song. If I was only ever given 100 songs to ever listen to, this would be one of them for sure. And I give this one also a 10 plus. What do you think, Dreadly?
Yeah, this album and the next album, they really find their classic Sabbath sound that we're all used to. And both of these albums, just from start to finish, are full of your classic, that's their stamp. You know what I mean? They put their stamp on it. And it starts out with a classic kind of a Sabbath groove with the intro. I thought the drums are really on showcase in this album.
Yeah, agreed.
Bill Ward just tears it up, and then they kick into the main song. And again, Iommi's making good use of the dynamics with his guitar playing, because again, he's using that same rhythm, but bringing the volume down and bringing it back up for the chorus. Bass guitar is phenomenal in it. There's a build up about 3.5 minutes in that goes back into the intro. It's a seamless thing, and it fits perfectly. They loop it back to that intro.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a guitar outro and the bass line. It's simple, but it's really, really cool, amazing. It's an awesome song. The lyrics are out there, but they're perfect for Sabbath. I give it a 10 also.
All right. Wow, this is going to be probably one of our highest rated songs list ever. All right. Next song is from Master of Reality, released 7/21/1971. And again, that's less than a year later from Paranoid. Lord of this World.
3 albums in about a year?
Yeah, 3 albums in about 17
just
months, something like that.
Yeah.
Lord of this World, heavy drum and guitar. I mean, heavy as fuck drum and guitar intro. Then it goes into like a bouncy type riff. It seems basically the song. It seems to me like they're talking about, you may be Lord of this world, but God is the Lord of everything, right? He's the master of reality. So you can go ahead and live your life the way you want, but eventually you're going to turn back to God, right? Is what the whole song seems like to me what it's about.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Black Sabbath have always had this big satanic stigma thrown about them. But if you really sit down and listen to the lyrics are anything but that.
The lyrics are basically Christian lyrics for the most part.
Yeah, they're very, very, very. In fact, the first song off this album is straight up, After Forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, go read the lyrics to that one and tell me.
You're right. And what happens after you die? Right. Yep.
Right. So yeah, but go ahead.
Tony, he's got his guitar downtoned to 1.5 for this song, which he says makes it a bigger, heavier sound, which he's right, of course. I mean, he's the man. And Geezer's got his bass down tuned too. It's drop tuned. The same thing. And what the fuck is that saying? I don't know. Anyway, the song is amazing. The whole album, Master of Reality, is fucking awesome. I mean, it just really is. I just love that album entirely, and I even love the cover art where it's just like it just says Master of Reality. That's it. It's just like just the words. So I also give this one a 10+. Go ahead, Drew.
Yes, Lord of this World is my first note is heavy. This is basically sludge metal 101. You wanna learn to play some heavy, sludgy Sabbath type stuff. This is one to look to right here. This is probably the first one you should learn how to play. If you can't bang your head to this song, get the fuck out.
Yeah, right.
Right now. I mean, seriously, it inspires involuntary headbanging. You know what I mean?
I know exactly. I can't headbang right now because of my shoulder, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean, you listen to the song and you can't help but, even if it's just nodding your head to it, you've got to move to the music. It makes you move. It's a slower tempo. Lyrics are outstanding. It's got a classic rhythm change up in there. The bass it's like a master class on how to play bass guitar. Especially these first 3-4 albums. Geezer is the man.
Agreed.
Yeah, I give us a 10+ also.
10+. All right.
Yeah.
Seems like Sabbath is doing pretty good with us for some reason. All right. The next song is called Supernauts by Black Sabbath. And this is off of Volume 4, which is an amazing name for the 4th album he put out. And this was released at 9/25/1972. This song has been covered by Teresa's. It's been covered by Ministry. It's been covered by probably most popularly 10 or 1,000 Homo DJs. That was on their I forget what the name of the albums are. There's 2 albums. And
NIB.
Nativity in Black. That's what it is. Nativity in Black 1 and 2, which is a bunch of Black Sabbath covers by a bunch of different bands, like way varied bands too. And this is on there by 1,000 Homo DJs. Really good. When they do this song in concert, this is the song that they stop in the middle of it and let Bill do his drum solos, which is awesome. And actually in the song, when the drum solo part comes up, you can actually hear the wooden fish in it. Like I don't know what they're called, but they're these instruments. They look like a fish, and they have these ridges on the top of them, and you scrape like a stick over top of it, and it makes a sound. You can hear that in this song. And it's like it's a Vietnamese instrument origin, but you can definitely hear it. The song has got a great riff. It's got a great solo, and after the drum part, like when it comes back in, it's fucking heavy as all get out. So I give this song a 9.5. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, it's got a cool ass killer guitar riff in the song. Not a whole lot of change-ups in this one compared to like their previous albums. It's much more of a straightforward rocking song throughout with that kind of drum breakdown in the middle, which, to be honest with you, the drum breakdown is kind of, I could see it working live with doing the drum solo, but on the album track, it just kind of, it feels out of place right there. That was really the only reason I knocked it at all was the drum breakdown part, because it just doesn't quite fit the mood of the rest of the song. It kind of goes out there into a different genre all of a sudden. It's kind of a
in some parts it almost sounds tropical even.
Yeah, it does. So it's kind of jarring. But that's the only knock I have on the song. I give it a 9.5 also.
All right, look at that. We're agreeing on everything here. All right, next song is from Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, released the first day of December 1973. And the song is called Who Are You? And it has like a weird keyboard intro. That sticks around for the whole fucking song, too. Weird keyboards.
Yeah.
There's very, very strong bass to the song, but virtually non-existent guitar to the song.
Not virtually. It is non-existent. There's no guitar in the entire song.
They recorded this at Clearwater Castle And apparently, like when they went there, they saw like they were like way the fuck coked up the whole entire time, and they were like seeing ghosts, and they were playing pranks on each other, like almost like they were so severe pranks they'd almost kill each other with the pranks, and just like crazy shit going on at this place. It's got a weird piano and synthesizer breakdown to it, and Ozzy, he's got a part on here where he's harmonizing with himself. Like he's got an Ozzy backup track to him singing, which that's kind of weird. And it's like it's not like your standard harmonizing. It's like delayed maybe like by a quarter of a second, so you can hear both of them really good. So it just sounds weird. The whole song is really weird and experimental, I think. And I think this is like right around when synthesizers became huge, and they're like, we better get a big synthesizer song.
Yeah.
So I still like it because it's Sabbath. So I give it an 8.5. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, this is off the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album, which is some people love this album. I am not a big fan of the album in general because this is definitely where they really started experimenting with their sound. They got away from, I just talked about, their second and third albums were really their core sound of Sabbath, where they really put a stamp on their sound with those two albums. This album, they really got away from that in a lot of songs. There's some gems on there like National Acrobat and the title track Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Those are like some classic Sabbath tunes there. But a lot of the other stuff on the album is just really experimental, and they bring in the synthesizer. From what I understand, Ozzy actually wrote the synthesizer part and actually played that himself.
That's entirely possible.
It's another basically a 3-note arrangement, so it's pretty simple. It does sound evil. It's got a very slow tempo to it. There are no guitars in it whatsoever. That breakdown and towards the end is it's a piano and the synthesizer going together at the same time. It's the song itself is actually really good. It's not without the guitars. It's not a Sabbath sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like Sabbath. I actually covered this song myself.
Oh, wow.
I sat in my bedroom and did a cover of this with guitars, and I did, instead of the synthesizer part, I used guitars for that part. And yeah, and it, to me, I've had a lot of people tell me they like it better than the original. So I give this one an 8 because it's a good song. You know, the song is written well.
The arrangement.
It's just they just did too much experimentation with that.
All right,
a little too far.
We're close. All right, next song is off of Sabotage. 28th day of July, 1975. Symptom of the Universe. Okay. First off, let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. This is like the origin of thrash metal right here. Symptom of the Universe. Fucking amazing riff. There's no other way to explain it. The riff is just badass. The part at the end was actually a studio jam, right? The part where it's like just kind of acoustic and like weird at the end. It was a studio jam, and like, fuck it, leave it in. So again, the predecessor to thrash metal. And if you ask anybody who knows anything about thrash metal, they will tell you that Symptom of the Universe is like, it's right there. It's got great tempo changes. Great guitar flourishes. They're not really like huge long solos, but there's great little flourishes. It's got great drumming, and it's got great vocals. And this song has been covered by a lot of different really heavy hitters, but the one that comes to mind is Sepultura.
Also on the NIB album.
Yeah, it was a great album. So again, and because I love Sabbath and I love thrash metal so much, I have to give this one also a 10+. Go ahead, Redwood.
Nice. Yeah, I got classic metal riff opening. Like you said, it's pretty much standard for what would become thrash metal on this one. Innovations with this band, I think people overlooked that a lot. Like, Black Sabbath, well, so and so did this and this time, but I mean, these guys were just killing it back then. Ozzy's singing is powerful here. His vocals, I think his vocals on this song are probably the most powerful vocals I've heard from him in this song. I absolutely love his vocals on this song. Guitar breakdown's cool. It speeds up towards the end to the guitar solo, and then they got that weird change up at the end, which is kind of weird, but it's really, if you separate the two, it's really cool to listen to on its own.
Yeah, it is. It is really, yeah.
Yeah. So I give it a 9.5, only because the little jam out is kind of jarring compared to the rest of the song. But yeah, I love it. It's a cool song.
Fair enough. All right, next song comes from the album Technical Ecstasy, released 9/25/1976. And to me, this is their death throw album. This is where like they're kind of like on the way out. It's got a great riff sound, and what the fuck? Yeah, here it is. Great riff. It sounds slower on the album than I've heard them do it live. When they do it live, they speed it up.
Yeah.
The tempo, which sounds a lot better that way. The song is way too long. It's like 7.5 minutes long. And some Sabbath songs are that long and they're okay, but not this one. Ozzy sounds, in some of the refrains, he sounds like really slurred. And I don't know how they let that get past. I know he was probably high and drunk when he was doing it, but how the fuck do you let that get past, editing? I mean, you got to say, hey, man, you got to come back one day sober and do these. It's got a great solo. Again, I said a bit too long, but here's a great part about it is I guess they were like kind of like trying to be in rehab a little bit when they were doing this. So they recorded this at the same place that the Eagles were recording an album.
Yes.
They said they had to come back and scrape the cocaine off of the mixing boards.
Oh, I was going to say that. I have that pulled up on my screen. I was actually going to say that.
Yeah, they had to scrape the cocaine off the mixing boards because I guess the Eagles were like way into cocaine too, I guess, which doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, they were some of their when they were recording this, at some point the Eagles had to stop recording their album because Black Sabbath was too loud, which is an amusing story. But anyway, Dirty Woman is the name. I don't even know if I mentioned the name of the song. Holy shit. Dirty Woman's the name I'm talking about. Again, it's a great live song, and I've heard them do it and it sounds great when they do it, like not on this album. But still, it's Sabbath.
Yeah.
So I give it an 8.5. Not my favorite, but it's still Sabbath. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, this is their 7th album at this point.
It is,
and definitely not a favorite album of mine either. It marked a big change in direction for them overall. And even Ozzy has been quoted as saying that he had begun to consider leaving the band already at this point. Apparently,
yeah, he said he even had a shirt made up that said Blizzard of Oz on it already.
Yeah, and Tony, I guess, was feeling the pressure of keeping up with the modern sound, modern times, and wanting to get more of a Queen or Foreigner type sound for the band. So it definitely a change in direction for them. It's more of a the bass is good in it, and there's a cool tempo change about 2 minutes in. And then the change at the end really rocks, where he's, he actually kicks into the Dirty Women, about 3:20 or so.
How's it go again?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that again. It's really probably the only song off that album that's even a notable.
Fucking A. That's
track.
Why I picked it.
I don't. Yeah. It's always, compared to their other songs, it's always felt like a filler song to me. It's much better live, but I give it an 8.
All right. Still pretty close. All right.
Yeah.
Next song. This one was a little bit better. Never Say Die. It's the title track off their album released in 9/28/1978. It's got a great opening. I mean, like right off the rip there, just right into, fast as fuck. It's been covered by such notables as Megadeth. Again, off Nativity in Black. I think maybe Nativity in Black 2 on that list. And also Overkill covered it. The bass is very high in the mix, and the guitar sounds a little washed out to me in the album version of this. I'm sure there's like a remaster that sounds a lot better, I'm sure. It's got a great breakdown. Who in the fuck is the last person to say Never Say Die on the album or on the song? Because it's definitely not Ozzy. They had that Never Say at the very end. That's definitely not Ozzy.
Oh.
I don't know who it is.
I don't know.
But it's not Ozzy. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to find that out one day.
Yeah.
All right. So I give it an 8.5 because I really like it. And when Mega Man, Dave Mustaine said that this is one of those songs like nobody knows it's a Black Sabbath song. So he's like, we play it live and people think it's an original. So that's good. So
yeah.
So it never say not. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
It never say not 8.5. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, there's a reason nobody knows it's a Black Sabbath song because it doesn't really sound like a Black Sabbath.
It doesn't.
Song.
No, it doesn't really.
It's Ozzy actually temporarily left the band between these two albums, between the last one and this one. Mm-hmm. He was replaced temporarily by a guy named Dave Walker. Mm-hmm. And then he came back. He decided he wanted to come back like right before they started recording this album. And like 2 days before they were ready to record again, he decided to come back. But then when he came back, he said he didn't want to sing any of the stuff that they had written without him. Because they had started writing songs with this other dude, right? Mm-hmm. So they ended up, Bill Ward actually sings on one of the tracks, one of the songs, because Ozzy just flat out refused to sing it. And then for the rest of them, they said they had to write during the day so they could record at night. And they didn't really have time to review the tracks or make any changes. So it was very kind of off the cuff. And he said, as a result, the album sounds very kind of disjointed and confused. So I thought that's kind of an interesting note for this album.
It is interesting.
It's an upbeat tune. My problem with the song is it lacks your classic Sabbath riffs. There's no real riffs in the song. He opts for just straight up chords.
Yeah, but here's the thing I like about the riff though. They do that wah wah wah, and then they like at the very end of that they put that little bass tail on, which I like.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It doesn't have. It does. There's not really any change ups in it either, you know.
Nope,
and
you're right. Kind of punky almost.
Yeah, it's not what you expect from Sabbath at all. And the drums, I know it's Bill Ward playing the drums, but again, the drums are not your typical Bill Ward style drumming. I don't know how to describe it. I guess punky is a good way to describe it. It's definitely not my favorite tune. It is Sabbath. It's not a bad tune. I give it a 7.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
That's the one that's the only one we really differed on this whole time. All right. Moving on to Ronnie James Dio. And as soon as you say that, as you're saying you have to throw up the metal horn, you have to.
I just did that. That's weird.
Dio, you have to throw up fucking metal horns. That's where that came from. Dio. If I understand, like, I guess that was like one of maybe his grandma or something. That's like what she was trying to like ward off evil spirits with it or some shit. I don't know. That's where it came from, was from Dio.
Yep.
Heaven and Hell. Title track, 25th day of April 1980. 80s band time. All right. First album with Dio, and he wrote the lyrics to the song, which is why it sounds like Dio. It sounds like a Dio song. Mm-hmm. Definitely does. Basically, he says the whole song is about a choice between good or evil, right? Heaven and hell. Makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. It's very bass-driven song. That sounds like to me. I mean, definitely is a bass-driven song. The tempo change part is great. There's a great acoustic part that almost sounds like medieval, right? Like I almost picture this dude in like tights at a Renaissance festival playing that fucking part, right? So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of it. I mean, it's Dio, so it's not, to me that's not Black Sabbath. I mean, to me that's Dio. So Dio with Iommi on guitar. So I give this one a 7.5, and yes, I'm knocking it because it doesn't have Ozzy on vocals, but it's a good song. So 7.5.
Yep. Dio singing. This one is you really hear the return of that big heavy guitar sound. Mm-hmm. You know, they had started to experiment a little bit with the last couple of albums, and then he kind of got back to the guitar driven heavy guitar sound with this album. Bringing Dio in kind of, I guess, gave him a
second win.
That's a that can be a death blow for an established band when you lose a lead singer. You know, it's hard to continue.
Yeah, fucking. Can you imagine Metallica without Hetfield?
Yeah, you know,
or Megadeth without Mustaine? It just wouldn't happen.
Exactly. So not many bands can survive, a change like that. The problem is Dio. Now Dio's got very powerful vocals. I
Fucking
think
A, he's a great singer.
technically he's a better singer than Ozzy.
Yeah, got a better range.
Yep. Better range, much more powerful vocals. But I find Ozzy is a slightly better frontman, particularly for Black Sabbath. I think he's a better fit.
Yeah, right, because Ozzy's the crazy guy, and Dio just kind of stands there, just like the rest of the guys.
Yeah, yeah. And with Dio in the band, it's good music. It's a good song. I like Dio. I like Dio's solo stuff. This doesn't sound like Black Sabbath. This sounds like Dio's solo stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly what I say. Yep.
Yeah, it's got a plotting bass line that really drives the song. The tempo change is pretty cool. The acoustic outro is pretty cool. Again, it's a good song. It just doesn't sound like Sabbath. It sounds like, it sounds like a Dio song. So I give it an 8.
Hey, all right. I think if you average this out, we'd be like pretty damn close. Yeah. All right. The next song is called "Sign of the Southern Cross." Every time I hear Southern Cross, I always think of Robotech Southern Cross, right? Which is like, was it like Dimensional Cavalry Rider? Whatever the fucking second part after Maycross was. Anyway, the album's called. That was way the fuck out of left field. The album is called. Hey, my mind's fucking gets scattered. I'm into all kinds of shit. So you fucking bear with me, motherfuckers. All right. The album's called Mob Rules, which has got a great cover art to it. It's like a bunch of like I don't know, Ewok looking fuckers. I don't know. They're standing in front of this graffiti, and you have to look at it. I'll never be able to describe it. Anyway, it was released in November 4th, 1981. The Sign of the Southern Cross has got a great acoustic opening. What the fuck? Guitar and drums come in heavy as fuck. Dio has got a great. I mean, Dio's voice is on showcase in this whole album, especially on this song.
Mm-hmm.
I think this song is it's too long. I mean, to me, 4.5 minutes is the perfect length for a song. You get up to like 8 minutes or so, that's just pushing it for me. It's got a weird, almost Van Halen-like breakdown to it. It sounds to me like a lot like Van Halen when they do their little breakdown. So yeah, Sign of the Southern Cross. I give this one an 8.
All right. Yeah. At this point, back then bands didn't do this. You got a new singer and you just went on with a new singer. Nowadays, and they even did this when they got back with Dio again, they just changed the name of the band to Heaven and Hell.
Right.
When they did the reunion with Dio, and that's probably what they should have done back then.
Fucking A, you're right.
It really sounds like a completely different band. It's almost like, like when What's His Face left Rage Against the Machine, and then they brought in the rest of the band was exactly the same. They just brought in Chris Cornell to sing. Completely different singer.
It sounds nothing like Rage Against the Machine.
Nothing like Rage Against the Machine. So they didn't call themselves Rage Against the Machine. They called themselves Audio Slave, and that was perfect. That's exactly what they should have done. I think that's what Sabbath should have done here.
What's that dude's name? Tom Morello on their guitar.
Guitar, yeah, Tom Morello. Yeah. He comes up with some pretty cool Sabbath type of riffs every now and then.
Yeah, I agree. Too bad he's like politically a clusterfuck. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this song has an acoustic intro with some very soft vocals, and like you said, Dio's vocals are really on showcase here. And then the heavy guitars kick in, and it's just killer, heavy. They have a different drummer for this album, Vinny. I've heard their last name pronounced a couple of different ways. Appice, whatever.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So as a result, the drums actually do feel different. There's a really cool rhythm about 5 minutes in. It's kind of long, but it's kind of the kind of doom metal 101 here for this.
Great big song.
Yeah, the whole album though is kind of a rehash of Heaven and Hell. This is like Heaven and Hell Part 2.
Yep.
So again, not bad. It's just not Sabbath. You know what I mean? So
exactly what you mean.
I give this one an 8.5.
All right. Yeah, I definitely think if you averaged out both of our scores, I think you would come up with the exact same number. I think.
Yeah. Think so.
So yeah, pretty close. So yeah, Black Sabbath, one of my favorite bands of all time. That was our little review of their first 10 albums, a song off of each. So there you go, little treat for the one viewer we got there. All right, so thank you, whoever the fuck you are. So I think it might be probably Beth probably listening. So hey, thanks Beth for listening. So yeah, now we're gonna go on to the last stage of the program where we talk about heavy metal concert experiences. Here, I want to talk about one. I've talked about this concert before, but not this particular experience. I went to go watch, and this is a great lineup. The two co-headliners, White Zombie and Pantera.
Oh, nice.
Amazing show, right? But the opening for them was I Hate God, which I'm not a fan of at all. And Deftones. Also not a fan of the Deftones. So I Hate God, Deftones. I Hate God came on first, right? And they got booed off the stage.
Wow.
They did. They got booed off the stage because they were so awful. And this is like way early for I Hate God. So I think we're talking about like, I think this is 95 or 96, maybe somewhere around there. So pretty early. And this is what I want to talk about. Deftones came on, right? And Deftones aren't like your classic heavy metal band. In fact, I put them like maybe like in between rock and heavy metal, right? Because they're not like super duper heavy, but you know, some of their songs are, I guess. I don't know, Foo fucking Deftones. Anyway, so the Deftones lead singer, he's looking at this guy, and this guy's like super rocking out all the shit they're playing. And he's like, the guy's like right up on the rail. And he leans over to this guy and he says, "Hey man," he's like, "what do you want to hear? Pick anything you want to hear and we'll fucking play it for you right now." So then he hands the security guy the microphone, and the guy gets the microphone and he goes, "Morbid Angel," like fucking just kills it with like a scream, right? I was like, hell yeah, this guy just fucking said Morbid Angel. Right, so the Deftones guy gets the microphone back, but I'm surprised this guy didn't like keep it because he looked like, I don't know, like a fucking methed out Viking. Like what the fuck? So Deftones lead singer gets the microphone back. He's like, "All right, we're gonna do some Morbid Angel for you right now." So he gets the guitar player over there. The guitar player just goes to this riff. It was like 1,000 miles an hour, and he was just like barked over top of the riff. He's like, "There you go, man, Morbid Angel for you right there on the spot," which I thought that was like, I don't even like Deftones, but I thought that was kind of cool. And okay, and I'm gonna add one more to that, and this is like another instance of a lead singer like fucking with the audience, right? And another band that I don't really like, a band called Volbeat, right?
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of Volbeat, but the Volbeat, they were up there and they're doing their Volbeat thing. And the lead singer of Volbeat, he looks down at this guy in the audience, and he had a shirt on, and I forget what band it was from, the shirt, right? But he goes, "Hey man," he's like, "do you have a blank," whatever the fuck band it was, "do you have a blank shirt on?" He's like, "That's fucked up." He goes, "Here, man, here's $20," and he threw a $20 bill, and he goes, "Go buy a Volbeat shirt." I was like, holy shit, he grabbed an actual $20 bill out of his wallet, wadded it up, and threw it at the guy, and said, "Go buy a Volbeat shirt." I'm like, man, that was kind of dicky, but kind of cool at the same time. And also a testament to how long it's been since this guy's bought a concert shirt. If you can find a concert shirt for $20, it's not like a local band. Fucking tell me about it, because normally they're about 40 now.
Yeah.
And they're probably made for about a nickel in Thailand somewhere. So fuck. All right. So those are my two little tidbits of heavy metal concert stories. What do you got for us, Dreadwind?
Oh, how about an Ozfest in Dallas?
Oh yeah, one more thing. That Volbeat thing happened at Rock on the Range. Go ahead.
Okay. If you know anything about Ozfest, you know that they do those during the summertime. And if you know anything about geography, you know that Dallas gets fucking hot in the summertime. So I was, let's see, I know Zach was there, and he was playing, I'm trying to remember if he was playing with Ozzy that year or if he was just doing Black Label Society. But anyway, they had a little tent set up where he was going to be signing autographs, right? I was like, awesome. So I had brought, I don't remember how I had it, but anyway, I had a Black Label Society CD. I guess I must have known beforehand and brought it with me. Unless I bought it there. I don't remember now. But anyway, so he's there, and I'm, waiting in line, and he finally shows up. And of course he's decked out with like his,
long chain,
big long chain, and the the leather vest and everything, and looks like a Viking in flannel and leather, and so he sits down. I finally get up there, shake his hands, like, hey man, thanks for coming out and everything, and just trying to make small talk like you do. I was like, so. I was actually being that guy. Is it hot enough for you? And he, in classic Zach fashion, with literally every other word being "fuck," he's like, "Oh fuck, man, I'm motherfucking sweating my fucking balls off, man."
Nice.
So that was just kind of humorous.
Yeah. See, like when you get to meet people like that, it's like. Sometimes, like, to me, like, if they're big enough, like when I met Megadeth at a signing, I like almost froze up where I couldn't talk.
Yeah, and I really didn't know what to say. I mean, I'm sure he heard, oh man, I'm a big fan of yours. Everybody says that, and I just kind of wanted to. I guess I wanted to get a laugh out of him. So I was like, "Is it hot enough for you?" And sure enough, man, it made him laugh. He just kind of stopped and sat back and was like, "Fuck, man, this motherfucking hot out here." It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Zach Wild, have you seen his little commercials he does for his guitars?
Oh yes, it's hilarious.
They're so fucking funny. Yeah. They're like, this is like hip juice we're gonna put into it. Way off.
Throws it in the pizza oven. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. All right.
Yep. So same show. A little bit later on the side stage, they had a couple bands playing, and I think Lacuna Coil was one of them, and they put on a great show. I'd seen them before. They put on an awesome show, but they only play like on the side stage. You only get like 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
So they only play like, I think 4 songs and they get off. I was like, oh man, that sucks. And then the last band to play on the side stage was Cradle of Filth. So they were like headlining the side stage, right?
Gotcha.
And now this is, the last show on the side stage right before the main stage kicks on. So it's what, 1-ish in the afternoon. Hottest part of the day, and Cradle of Filth gets on.
Yeah, wearing like trench coats and shit. Yeah,
trench coats and head to toe leather with the face makeup, and and they're up there and they're doing their black metal thing, and they're trying to look evil and they're trying to sound evil, and their face paint's just literally melting off their faces, and it's the middle of the day, so there's no light show whatsoever to go with any of the music. You can't really do a smoke thing, or there's really no theatrics you can do. They're just up there playing their music in the hot leather.
Right, and if you know anything about Cradle of Filth, theatrics is a big part of what they do.
Big part of what they do, and it just didn't work for them. It was they sounded good, but it just did not.
Like Soggy Dogs.
Yeah, it was rather humorous, actually. It was kind of funny. So,
all right,
there you go.
Okay, so there you got fucking 2 for the price of 1 from both of us on the heavy metal stories.
Yeah,
tidbits, motherfuckers, and it's a whole Black Sabbath show, so you're welcome, one listener. So yeah, hey, I just want to say that I am going to be at Anime Crossroads as the Cobra Trooper. So if you're at Anime Crossroads in Indianapolis, Indiana. I think that's coming up like on the 24th, I think, 25th, somewhere around there. It's like 2 weeks from now. You're around there and you want to meet me and you say, hey, check it out. It's the guy from the Heavy Gear 18 show. Yeah, you could do that. Except I'll be, wearing a Cobra Trooper outfit.
Right. You're becoming quite the regular con goer here.
Fucking A. Right. I'm thinking about going to Dragon Con too, right? But the only problem is like Atlanta, Georgia's far away.
It's a bit of a drive.
Yeah, and I asked I was gonna like say, hey, I'll stay with my nephew because he lives in Georgia, and I'm like, hey, how far away do you live from Atlanta? He's like 5 hours. I'm like, fuck. Apparently, Georgia's a bigger state than I ever thought it was, right?
It is, yeah.
From where I live now, I can drive anywhere in Ohio in under, probably 2.5 hours. But granted, Columbus is the center of Ohio too. So, all right. So anyway, I just want to say, hey, thanks for listening, and fucking stay metal, Dreadway.
Absolutely. And hey, be on the lookout too if you want to catch a cool live show. Sabaton is on tour, and they will be coming to the U.S. They have some U.S. dates scheduled in the next couple months, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, Sabaton. They're being named after a shoe.
Sweet. They have their own beer. Did you know that? They have their own beer.
I did know that.
Yeah, but you can only get it in Sweden though.
It's bullshit. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up.
We just won.
Fucking horns up, everybody.